Delete attribute. Object name. This is relative to set attribute. The arguments are an object and a string. The string must be the name of one of the object's attributes. The function deletes the name attribute provided the object allows it. For example, delete attribute x foo bar is equivalent to delete x.foobar. Dot name need not be a Python identifier. See set attribute. Class dict pointer kwr class dict mapping comma the pointer kwr class dict iterable comma pointer kwr. Create a new dictionary. The dict object is the dictionary class. See dict and mapping types dict for documentation about this class. For other containers, see the built-in list set tuple classes as well as the collections module. dir dir object without arguments return the list of names in the current local scope. With an argument, attempt to return a list of valid attributes for that object. If the object has a method named underscore underscore dir underscore underscore, this method will be called and must return the list of attributes. This allows objects that implement a custom get attribute or get attribute function to customize the way directory dir reports their attributes. If the object does not provide underscore underscore dir underscore underscore method, the function tries its best to gather information from the object's underscore underscore dict underscore underscore attribute. If defined and from its type object, the resulting list is not necessarily complete and may be inaccurate when the object has a custom get attr method. The default dir mechanism behaves differently with different types of objects as it attempts to produce the most relevant rather than complete information. If the object is a module object, the list contains the names of the module's attributes. If the object is a type or class object, the list contains the names of its attributes and recursively of the attributes of its basis. Otherwise, the list contains the object's attributes names, the names of its class attribute, and recursively of the attributes of its class base classes. Import struct dir import struct dir nothing. Okay, let me print dir import struct. These are the methods and dir struct print dir struct. So the attributes of struct, these are the attribute of struct. And class shape, if I do this, class shape print dir strips, it will print this method dir area location perimeter, return area location perimeter. Note, because dir is supplied primarily as a convenience for use at an interactive prompt, it tries to supply an interesting set of names more than it tries to supply a rigorously or consistently defined set of names, and its detailed behavior may change across releases. For example, meta class attributes are not in the result list when the argument is a class. Demod AB. Take two non-complex numbers as arguments and return a pair of numbers consisting of their quotient and remainder. Quotient and remainder when using integer division. With mixed operand types, the rules for binary arithmetic operators apply. For integers, The result is the same as a mod b, a a division b, a modulo b. For floating point numbers, the result is q, comma a modulo b, where q is usually math dot floor a divided by b, but may be less than 1 less than that. In any case, q into b plus a mod b is very close to a. If a mod b is non-zero, it has the same sign as b, and 0 less than equal to abs a mod b less than abs b. Enumerate. Iterable start is equal to 0. Return an enumerate object. Iterable must be a sequence, an iterator, or some other object which supports iteration. The underscore next underscore method of the iterator returned by enumerate returns a tuple containing a count from start which defaults to 0 and the values obtained from iterating over iterable. Season is equal to spring, summer, fall, winter. List enumerate seasons. Seasons. Print s 0 0 spring 1 summer 2 fall 3 winter. Equivalent to enumerate iterable start is equal to 0. N is equal to start for lm in iterable yield and m. Eval expression comma globals is equal to none comma locals is equal to none. The arguments are a string and optional globals and locals. If provided, globals must be a dictionary. If provided, locals can be any mapping object. The expression argument is passed and evaluated as a Python expression, technically speaking a condition list, using the globals and locals dictionaries as global and local namespace. If the globals dictionary is present and does not contain a value for the key underscore built-ins underscore a reference to the directory of the built-in module built-ins is inserted under that key before expression is passed. The way you can control what built-ins are available to the executed code by inserting your own built-ins dictionary into globals before passing it to eval. If the locals dictionary is omitted, it defaults to the globals dictionary. If both dictionaries are omitted, the expression is executed with the globals and locals in the environment where eval is called. Note, eval does not have access to the nested scopes, non-locals, in the enclosing environment. The return value is the result of the evaluated expression. Syntax errors are reported as exceptions. Example, x is equal to 1. Print result eval 2. This function can also be used to execute arbitrary code objects such as those created by compile. In this case, pass a code object instead of a string if the code object has been compiled with exec as the mode argument. Eval's return value will be none. Hence, dynamic execution of statements is supported by exec function. The globals and locals functions return the current global and local dictionary respectively, which may be useful to pass around for use by eval and or exec. If the given source is a string, then leading and trailing spaces and tabs are stripped. See ast.literal eval for a function that can safely evaluate strings with expressions containing only literals. Raises an auditing event exec with the code object as an argument. Code compilation events may be raised. Exec object comma globals is equal to none comma globals is equal to none comma backslash comma asterisk comma closure is equal to none. This function supports dynamic execution of Python code object must be either a string or a code object. If it is a string, the string is parsed as a suite of Python statements which is then executed unless a syntax error occurs. If it is a code object, it is simply executed. In all cases, the code that is executed is expected to be valid as file input. See the section file input in the reference manual. Be aware that the non-local yield and return statements may not be used outside of function definitions even within the context of code passed to the exec function. The return value is none. In all cases, if the optional parts are omitted, the code is executed in the current scope. If only globals is provided, it must be a dictionary and not a subclass of dictionary, which will be used for both the global and local variables. If globals and locals are given, they are used for the global and local variables respectively. If provided, locals can be any mapping object. Remember that at the module level, globals and locals are the same dictionary. If exec gets two separate objects as globals and locals, the code will be executed as if it were embedded in a class definition. If the globals dictionary does not contain a value for the key built-ins, a reference to the dictionary of built-in module built-ins is inserted under that key. That way you can control what built-ins are available to the executed code by inserting your own built-ins dictionary into globals before passing it to exec. The closure argument specifies a closure, a tuple of salvars. It's only valid when the object is a code object containing free variables. The length of the tuple must exactly match the number of free variables referenced by the code object. Raises an auditing event exec with the code object as the argument. Code compilation events may also be raised. Note: the built-in functions globals and locals return the current global and local dictionary respectively, which may be useful to pass around for use as the second and third argument to exec. Note: the default locals act as described for function locals below. Modifications to the default locals dictionary should not be attempted. Pass an explicit locals dictionary if you need to see effects of the code on locals after function exec returns. Filter function iterable. Construct an iterator from those elements of iterable for which function is true. Iterable may either be either a sequence or container which supports iteration or an iterator. If function is none, the identity function is assumed, that is, all elements of iterable that are false are removed. Note that filter function iterable is equivalent to the generator function item for item in iterable if function item. If function is not none, an item for item in iterable if item if function is none. See iter tools dot filter false for the complementary function that returns elements of iterable for which function is false. Thank you.